Okay now, hey now, we are live and back from ATA all in one piece, and I hope you guys enjoy the first of a few shows coming at you from live in the trade show. But this episode is myself, obviously, and the guys from Unfiltered and Joe Umphries from the Big Tine Feed and Supplementation Company. So we're actually in the Big Tine booth, and we kind of hear how the guys use the product and what Big Tine is all about. So hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. All right, guys, we are live. ATA 2019, Louisville, Kentucky, in the Big Tine booth. We are here with Joe Umphries and the guys from Unfiltered, Blake and Diddy.
Diddy.
What's up?
What's up?
What's happening, guys?
Is this where we talk?
Day.
It's talking time.
So just to paint the picture for everybody, it's Saturday, end of the day here at ATA. So everybody's kind of starting to drag. We did experience some mountain ops, though. We tried to see if that would push us through.
Yeah, John got his first dose of it.
I did. First mountain ops experience.
He started just picking up everything that was heavy around him.
Yeah.
It was weird.
I feel rejuvenated. I mean, my liver was pissed this morning. But right now,
He was not happy.
No, it was not happy with me. But yeah, I pulled through. I even licked on some of this mineral from Joe and kind of helped out. So
Yeah.
Start eating Big Tine.
Big time, yes.
A little booster.
I was chewing on some of those sunflower seeds. Get a little salt.
I had a kid walk in earlier and start eating it, like a handful. They're like, "This is pretty good." I'm
Blake,
like,
why did you do that?
It was Blake.
Sorry.
It was Blake. 2 handfuls.
Yes.
2 handfuls and some mountain ops.
Fantastic. We need to juice this up. I'm sure people are already bored as hell.
You're like, these dudes, what are they doing?
Trying to keep it together for us. But
I know.
Anyways, so for those that don't know, I know Blake and Diddy have used a lot of Big Tine products here in the past, and especially this year. But Joe, I mean, you've talked with these guys, and it would be kind of neat, I think, just to hear their testimonial about how they run their products with you.
Absolutely.
And so.
I don't necessarily like just talking about Big Tine. I would rather go to the testimonials from the guys that are using it in the field to see what you have to say about it. I mean, because that's the real end result. That's what people want to hear about. That's my opinion.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have a whole, just tons of different types of products. But Blake, how do you use them? What do you start with? And Diddy, what do you do?
Man, so to me, supplemental feeding is probably one of the easiest things to do for your whitetail herd, but probably one of the most important things to do for the whitetail herd. I mean, we get back, so I'll literally get home tomorrow, maybe, depending on the snowstorm, but I'll be back early January. We end hunting January 15th in Missouri, so we can't feed while we're hunting. So as soon as season's over, or like this instance this year, is that we don't have anything we're going to hunt. We're going to grow everything else from the year, so we're done. So we're going to start feeding. Our deer this year went through a really, really cold rut, and they lost a lot of body mass, and ultimately that's going to affect their antler growth for next year. We know that we have to get these deer back up to what we call their fighting weight, and Big Tine has been, it's been phenomenal with just the attraction level alone. Is hands down the best thing. I used to run corn, and I started out when I supplemented feed, I guess a couple years ago. I started running straight corn, and I would try to find any topper I could put on it that would make it more appetizing to deer and bring in more deer. Played with that, went through, then I went to cracked corn and soybean meal to try to give them some more protein and allow them to digest it a little bit better. But I still just didn't get the attraction that I wanted to get my deer in there. So Big Tine came around, we started playing with it, and man, the attraction level is unbelievable. It pulls in deer. We get deer that we've never seen before show up on it. It doesn't take the deer literally less than 12 hours to find our stuff when we put it out there. And we have deer that literally watch us come in, dump it, leave, and they're back on the cell camera within 15 minutes, back on the pile. They love it to death. And for us, it's done great, leaps and bounds on antler growth for us for the year, because it's all about getting that deer. Everybody talks about antler growth and how supplemental feed really changes it. And what they miss is that there's nothing in that supplemental feed that's like the super omega that's going to take a 100-inch 6-pointer and turn him into a 220-inch deer the next year. That's just not there. But what it does is it makes your deer a healthier deer, which therefore allows him to reach what his maximal potential is genetically. And that's what we've seen. We've seen deer throw kickers. We've seen deer throw a lot of burrs off of the bases that we've never had before just after 1 year of solid feeding, through the whole year. So I'm feeding. Right now we go with what I call their whole corn blend. I'm Joe. I'm probably butchering this.
You nailed it.
I call it the whole corn blend. So it's the blend that's black and red bag, and it's a 40-pound bag, and it has been what we feed this time of the year. So January through the end of February. Once March starts, then we change to the higher protein, the 20% protein blend, which has roasted soybeans. And cracked corn, which is a little bit easier for those deer to digest. They don't pass quite as much through them, so you're actually taking a lot more in. It's got the 30.6 mineral inside of it, so it's a little bit better for them. Of course, both blends have that, but let me go back. This time of the year, the 40-pound bag for us also makes more sense because we're dumping a lot more feed. It seems like we really have does just pounding it. Plus, our bucks will stay on the piles a lot longer because they're absolutely trying to throw as much fat back on their body as they can. So for us, we kind of use those two blends throughout the year, and we'll transition. We'll feed the protein all the way through, and then we stop feeding September 1st because we open September 15th. So we'll feed the higher protein stuff all through the summer months, and go into hunting season again. We have to pull it, and they're on their own for a couple months, but I think they like this time of the year because they like to see us come back and dump it on the ground.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So, I assume you kind of follow the same format, or do you do anything different?
I defer to Blake.
Defer to Blake?
No.
Blake answers all
so Blake,
feed questions.
There's no doubt he's the master at this. He's the educated feeder, and I represent the uneducated feeder. And I would be the guy to throw back a corn down and expect results. And the game is changing on that. It's not. It does work. Deer eat corn. It doesn't really do them any good other than bring them in.
It's more than just feeding their belt or filling their belly.
Yeah, and so I was sold on the slogan attract, develop, grow, and that attractant for one, it's not in corn. The smell, that cherry smell that you have, like the deer start associating that smell with, and they become more consistent. I get what it does for their health as development and all that, and antler growth. Obviously, they're getting more nutrition, but it wasn't what I was trying to accomplish. Like, I wasn't trying to grow bigger deer. It ended up being a byproduct of it.
Right.
It's like, wow, you can honestly tell the difference. Like, there's no doubt about it, but it wasn't my goal. And now it's pretty cool to see how it has worked.
Now it's part of it.
Yeah, you just kind of, now, a lot of it's because of Blake, and he's like, man, it's working. Like, look at this. It's amazing. So, and I only have a couple farms that I can feed on because I've got a long way to go. I can't drive a truck in the summer. I got to hike it all in, and it's a lot of work. But, what did I say? You got to do what you got to do.
Right. Now, Blake, sort of, I kind of get the drift that you kind of, like, track a lot of stuff, like, data-wise, like, even if it's just mentally. But, like, how did you notice right away that you're, like, benefiting from using the Big Tine?
So just overall, general. I have a good story. I have a couple different things I want to talk about, but this is going to be a long one. I had a great story. I had a buck last year that got wounded in bow season, early bow season.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it was probably Dittmer. But anyway, this deer took an arrow right in front of his haunches, like right through his gut. I don't know how he lived, but he did. And he looked horrible. You can tell off your trail camera pictures. Your bucks look horrible, especially this time of the year. This deer looked horrible. I thought he was going to die on me. He ends up laying at the feeder and stays at the feeder for almost a month straight. He's there every day. And literally he was at the point where I could drive in with my truck and he would go about 30 yards into the timber and stand there while I filled the feeder. And then when I left, he would come right back down, lay down and eat. And we nursed that deer back to health. The deer came all the way back and he was a high 30s 8-pointer. That year, and he actually ended up coming out, and he was like 144-inch 8 the very next year. So he not only did he match what he put out the wounded year, but he came back and put inches on after being wounded an entire winter. So, it says something there with just the feeding. I was able to give him some quality feed, and I was able to make his life a lot easier, and that's what it's all about. If you ever look at, like, high-fence deer, their lives are the easiest they can be because they're in a pen. They get fed, they get watered, they don't have to stress. They don't,
no stress.
Any of that stuff is the easier you can make a whitetail's life, the more gains he's going to get, and that's what this all kind of goes back to.
I think people underestimate the stress factor.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Yeah.
They just want they want to see health and longevity, but you got to take that stress out of their life. You know, don't pressure them, keep them happy. The happier you are, the fatter you get. Right. It's like with people. I mean, I'm happy every time I'm around.
You're the happiest guy I know.
Well, I think a good story too on the attraction stuff. So you can get away with a lot more on your deer. We talk about pressure. So when I go into my farms, I drive into my farms. I have a farm specifically that has an upper field and a lower field. I drive in every time I drive into that farm to check cameras or feed. I always go to my upper feeder first. I drive back down. I do my lower feeder. This has been something to where I can drive in and see deer, and they know if they see my truck that there's usually going to be food there. And it's crazy because John got to hunt that farm this year in the rut. And what I do there is my feeder's empty, completely empty, has been empty since September 1st, but it's still there. We have a stand that's kind of by the feeder, and those deer, like, you can drive in and get out of your truck and go climb in the stand, and you can see your truck. It's 80 yards from you, out in the middle of a field.
I thought you were crazy when you told me to do this.
Yeah, John's like looking at me crazy because I'm like, just drive to that cedar.
Park in the food plot, he says.
Park in the food plot. Go to the tree.
Okay, Blake.
Yeah, he's like, this is not going to work. Within 30 minutes, he's got like 8 does within 5 yards of his truck.
I have some of the most epic footage of just deer walking around my truck eating in the food plot.
Because they're used to my truck being there as a signal. I mean, it's just like, it's honestly like cattle. Like when you feed cattle daily, and it's crazy. My farmer guys will know what I'm talking about, but you have a white truck, and you drive your white truck in to feed cattle daily. If somebody drives another white truck in there, they're going to think they're getting fed.
Right.
Deer the same way. If you give them positive interactions with all your interactions, they don't see it as much of a threat, and the pressure on your farm is reduced a lot.
Right.
So every time we go in to check a camera in the summer, I redo mineral. I always put mineral down. It may just be 2 pounds. I always put new mineral down, and I always put half a bag at least of Big Tine down just around the mineral lick, just to have a positive presence of me being there.
Yeah.
So when they know, if they smell me, they see my truck come in, I'm not there to kill them.
Everything's always the same.
They're like, oh, wait, there's going to be new food there. There's going to be new mineral there.
You're lying to them.
No, I'm lying to the deer.
How do you sleep
I'm
at night?
setting them up. But anyway, it's funny because John hunted that stand, and those deer would still come and check that feeder after it's sat empty for 2 months. When they see a truck drive in, they come in and still smell that feeder and lick that feeder and check it to see if there's any food in there, because they've been taught the entire summer that every time that truck's there's food in that feeder. There's new stuff.
Conditioned.
Absolutely.
They
and
know.
You can use that to your advantage so much more as a hunter, you know.
Sure.
And there's a ton of different guys, like we talk about, just like John. There's guys who dump feed regularly and go crazy with it, like OCD-wise, and there's guys who just want to get some trail camera pictures of deer. So the cool thing about Big Tine is it kind of meets all that. You know what I mean? There's smaller bags for guys who got to pack it in. They all have the attraction level. So the guy who wants to throw inches on a deer, he's got that going for him. The guy who just wants to get trail camera pictures, he's got that going for him. I mean, that's really what sets it apart from any other feed that's out there.
Totally different. Yep.
Yeah.
And now we've gone that one step further with the Big Tine Invasion cover scent.
Right.
You know, in the same instance of conditioning, in states when we're out of Indiana, we can't feed during season. You guys can't feed during season. But with the Invasion, it smells exactly like the feed.
Yeah.
And it does.
And
it's identical.
You know, they're going to smell that and think, hey, it's time to eat. And, you know, you can go in, you can use all kinds of different scents to cover up or make them think you're another deer.
Oh, no, Joe, let me take this over. On the back of the bottle.
He loves this part.
Loves it.
On the back of the bottle, on the labeling. Literally, so when you go to the store and buy this stuff, check this out. Why go into the woods smelling like urine when you can come out smelling like cherries? I mean,
I'm proud of that.
That's legit.
It's good.
That is legit. Slightly edited, because the version I heard was, why go into the woods smelling like piss when you can come out smelling like cherries?
It's a little bit more PC. I get it.
Well, I understand. It's got to go.
I got kids now, man.
Yeah.
I got to dumb it down a little bit.
Makes sense.
Well, let's hope they're not listening.
Nah, he doesn't like me.
It's a good. It's a really good product. I just seen it for the first time.
Which one is that, John?
Yesterday.
The Invasion cover scent?
Yeah,
okay.
The Invasion cover
I haven't
scent.
seen it yet,
And,
so.
Can you get this just with normal retailers where I'm buying Big Tine at?
Yep, the web The Web Tine?
The
Web Tine.
It's been a long day. The Big Tine web store?
Yeah.
We got available on there.
Or the
and
Big
retailers
Tine
also
app.
have it
Yeah.
available. Yep. Big
Free.
Tine app.
Yeah, get on there and buy it and have it shipped to your door, I assume.
Absolutely.
That's good.
I think the biggest thing for me is, and the biggest thing I hear back is, I have a lot of guys who tried it this year and put it out there, but the biggest question, and Joe, I'm sure you get this a lot too, is, man, it's so expensive. It's so much more. I can just go buy corn.
Right.
I can buy corn for half the price.
Yeah.
It's so much more expensive.
You hear that
why
all
would
the
I do it?
time.
Yeah. The attraction is what it is,
Right.
in my opinion. I mean, it's a full-size feed that's going to help your deer. It absolutely is. But 9 times out of 10, the guys who are complaining about price are the guys who don't care about antler growth. They just want the attraction level of it.
Well, more to that, you can't hunt over corn in Missouri. So if it's not really doing the deer any good,
Right.
I mean, it's coming. Yeah, you're going to get pictures,
Right.
But
And
they're
a
going
lot
to
of those
fall off in
guys
the
are
fall.
saying-
Where are they at?
Right.
A
They're
lot of
gone.
them that are saying Big Tine's too expensive per bag. They'll buy the corn for $8 and then buy a separate mineral.
Right.
Absolutely.
You're like, hello.
Completely negated what you just told me because it's
Too
cheaper to buy
expensive.
the Big Time because we have everything in there for you already.
Right.
And the attractions.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's just awareness.
It's a
once
trifecta.
they use it, I mean,
Yeah.
you got the proofs in the pudding. That's
And we've done tests, I mean, I'm constantly trying to learn everything I can. I'll feed Big Time continuously, stop the Big Time, put straight corn out. The deer will not come to it. Like, it'll sit there, and coons will eat it.
Right.
And as soon as you put the Big Time back out, every deer is right back to it.
although
on
they
the
smell
regular
it,
pattern.
and they
Yep.
know what it is.
Yeah, it's outrageous. I mean, I wish that, if there is anybody listening that is on the fence about it or is worried about it, just get a bag and just put it out and put a camera on it. Like, it's unbelievable.
The cherry rush that's in there that we keep on talking about, it's not just an attractant, it's a flavoring.
Right.
So they love the smell, they love the taste.
Right.
You just like it more.
Whole grain
Yeah.
anyway, and
Right.
you're force feeding them all the essentials that they need to keep them happy and healthy.
Yeah, you can't beat that. I think it's such a bonus to have something that's legit attracted.
Right.
Like Blake was saying earlier, like that's a pretty sweet scheme to pull up the same way every time, use the same system every time, park the truck there. That's a whole nother element to doing something like that hunting wise that obviously like guys aren't doing.
Right.
Well,
here's
it's
the
a huge
crazy thing.
advantage.
The crazy thing is where John parked his truck was 15 yards from a ground blind. Now, we hunted that stand. I think I hunted that stand twice, and you hunted it like 3 days straight.
So, and let me just jump in and tell you about that one real quick. It's super short, but I parked in the same spot that I park when I hunted in the stand, which is literally 20 yards from the ground blind.
Yeah, and still went to the ground
I
line.
don't know if that's legal
Deer
or
showed
not.
up within 30.
I can surely hunt that close
Really?
to the truck. I
Well,
wasn't hunting in the truck, but I was pretty damn close to it.
What's super crazy is I went in that ground blind and shot a deer December 4th out of the same ground blind we parked by since November.
Oh my gosh.
It's just,
crazy. I
you
can't
can
even
do
explain
it.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
that's,
I'm pretty sure that I couldn't get away with it. I know I can't get away with that where I'm at. I mean, they see a truck and they are gone.
Right.
I mean, we shot at them enough.
No, but you
they-
can condition your deer if you're able to do it, and maybe it's an ATV. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a truck. Maybe it's an
It-
ATV.
it
but
could be several
if you
different
start
things.
doing things to let them think you're predictable. You become predictable. They know that. They
It
feel
drops the
comfortable.
fear zone.
But what you do when you go to hunt is you become unpredictable,
Right.
and you do something you haven't done all year, and you move into that stand that maybe you hung back in August or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And you don't go back to that stand again. You're just going in to feed and feed and feed and feed and feed. They're getting positive things. When you go in to hunt that stand, if you're efficient, the only deer that's
the
going
right
to know
day.
you were there for bad intentions is a dead one.
Yep.
Because every good one's going to keep
I'm
going.
glad you pointed out that you go to the upper field first, then lower field.
Yeah.
When you get that plan down, stick to that plan. Don't meander over here.
Right.
I just want to check this out. I mean,
Nope.
Yeah.
do it continuously all the time. Stick
Right.
to the plan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it needs to be a clean scheme of things. Like,
really-
don't be
like, I'm
doing
OCD,
property
I'm telling you,
maintenance
I'm
or
ridiculously
cleaning up
OCD
garbage.
with this
Yeah.
stuff. Like, it's
No.
just, just a little bit. But yeah, I mean it's unbelievable, and it would blow your mind. But it takes years. I mean, it takes
Well,
it
I've
took
seen it firsthand.
3 years.
Yeah, and you need to either be talked into it or see it. But now I see it, and then you can replicate that on other farms.
Absolutely.
That's the point of
100%.
talking about it. But try it. I'm telling you, I've
Right.
seen it. It works.
Have a positive influence on it, and
I think the guy you stole your haircut off of just walked past.
oh dang it!
Oh, it is.
Oh, it is.
Totally a
Yeah.
nice haircut.
Yes.
Well, since
So we're at the archery trade show, and there's
yeah.
a lot of Amish that are in
Yeah.
they have bow shops, a lot of bow shops in the archery.
they do.
We're here, and Blake had a really nice long haircut.
Hadn't cut my hair since August.
Not haircut, but
He had
hairstyle.
long hair.
It was Maine.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was going to go for the mower. I mean, mullets are sweet.
They're in right now.
They're definitely in.
Yeah.
They were at some point. But we're sitting here, and a few of the Amish kids walked by, and they had the absolutely perfect bowl cut, like textbook.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
It like a light bulb came
To
above
Blake's
head, and he just started pointing. It's like almost like a slow clap moment. Like he's like, "Oh yeah,
I've
It was an epiphany.
achieved it.
doing that."
Yeah.
And I said, that's a great idea for you to do it.
That was a fact. Joe supported it.
So, but we still didn't think you were going to do it.
Nobody thought I was really going to do it. So last night I kept my Big Tine hat on, and I just had Brandon cut everything underneath it.
All the way around.
So
All the way
it's
around.
The official Big Tine Bowl.
It is
It
the
is.
first Big
Yeah.
Tine
Big
bowl.
Tine bowl.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Wow.
Business on the bottom, party on the top.
That's right, buddy.
So very, very late, early AM haircut. Never
Yeah.
hurt anybody.
So and let me get this. And so you guys took the shears and went straight across his forehead in a perfectly straight line. If you can
We did.
visualize that. And he's got kind of a short beard right now.
Yep.
So
He does.
he even looks the Yoder part.
I do.
He is
You can tell
so
he's
close to a
held that
Yoder
hat tight
cousin.
because you can literally tell where the snapback is on the back.
Yeah, 100%. I'm telling you, that's 100%.
That's exactly how we did it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
epic.
it is. It was a lot of skill
Go down
involved
as
trying to
one of
cut hair around a cap.
It was,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
That's
is.
the first time for me.
It was my first time. Probably
Yeah.
my last.
So we came up with a new idea for next year. Everybody's got to commit, but we're going to put in the jar a paper with a different hairstyle on each paper, and we all have to draw it. And what you draw, you get. You got to do it.
I did get an
That's a
Uber
good
driver out,
idea.
I told you. We were
Did that happen in the PBR last night, John? That
So,
idea?
Just a minute ago.
Just
here
a
in the
minute
Big
that
Tine
just happened?
booth.
Damn.
He was straight. I mean, very, very nice gentleman, very white, and he had straight up Rick James Jerry curls.
Oh,
I mean, just
nice.
gorgeous, permed, beautiful, oiled. And he
Lush.
told me all about the keto diet. And
Oh, yeah.
my life's been changed.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I can see you're passionate
eaten
about
bread
it
all
too.
day.
It was
Grilled
it was just another
just
hair
ate
story
dinner.
until he said keto diet. You know, just another hair story.
Yeah.
So, but before we get too crazy, so Joe, what do we have coming down the pipe for 2019?
So this year, I mean, we kind of touched base on the Evasion. It's been around for a little bit. We put it in a bigger package. It's a 12-ounce bottle now instead of 8 because people are using it like crazy when they're going out. But more importantly, I'm really excited about the Last Stand food plot that we just came out with. It seems like the big trend right now is hunting that late season. I mean, I know you guys did really well.
Yeah.
And, you know, just keeping it green in your food plot and keeping something that lasts after that frost. So it's going to be a 100% brassica food plot mix. Comes in a 2-pound bag. That's a third of an acre. All forage rape, 75% forage rape, 25% purple top turnips.
Nice.
And these things are getting gigantic. I mean, softball size, bigger.
Good deal.
You're going to have plenty of tonnage for them throughout the year or
Yeah.
throughout the winter. Very excited about that. We were tracking a deer this year in one of the test plots. I mean, knee high. We had blood on our knees from tracking it through this thing.
He's dead in the food plot, but you can't find him.
Can't find it.
Yeah.
He hid underneath the turnip.
Yeah, right. No, super cool. So I can tell you that I've been making my own blend that's pretty much like that just in years past, and we utilized it this year, and the deer I killed off of it that we talked about in John's blind was killed off of it, and it's something that, you know, guys that always talk about, oh, I can't work the ground up, you know, where I'm at, I don't have that. This is a pasture that they went in and no-tilled soybeans into. The soybeans didn't take. Actually, the deer ate them before they could even get more than 4 inches high. All I did, I had a big rain coming the next day. I literally went in and broadcasted it out.
Top seeded
and
it.
left it.
Yeah.
And it rained on it, and dude, I had turnips, like you say, like turnips the size of softballs, you know.
No
So
way.
That blend is outrageous for it, and that's, I mean, we had 30 deer a night on an average out there in December. It was unbelievable. Different bucks, and it was just on. So It's we're really excited for that because it's a huge one. If you get the weather, man, turnips and
it complements our existing blend, the Buck Brunch,
right?
Because I mean that's more of a full season. You know, you've got oats and Dixie Crimson Clover in there for early season,
right?
And then the brassicas are in there as well.
Yep.
And it's a no-till, and we really wanted to focus on this one on just a straight late season because some guys are going to have that one plot they're not going to touch until way back when, no pressure on it, back to that, and then you got the food there for him. You're going to kill him.
This last stand, Joe, that you're talking about, what would you say is the best time to get it out and plant it and get ready for the...
I'm glad you asked. Every bag comes with a date.
No way.
Yeah.
So, like Missouri, since we're talking about Missouri quite a bit, August 1st through September 15th on planting. Up above Iowa, you want to go July 1st to August 15th. Down south, below Kentucky, kind of that Mason-Dixon there, you want to go September 1st to October 15th.
Yeah, the graph's really cool. Easy to use if you can read.
We're all
you should
about
be able
simple,
to plant.
man.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
There we go.
Well, and the cool thing with that planting time, especially for like Missouri, August 1st, September 15th, that's when your crops are done. So even if guys can't, like we say, go back and work ground, you can take it out and put it in standing corn. And that standing corn is going to get harvested, but it's letting enough light through that you have fresh dirt around the bottom. Do it right before rain. You can go on the inside, one bag of it. You go on the inside corner of a field where your stand is, put it out. When they cut the corn, they're not going to cut it down.
That's right.
And you're going to have, once the corn's gone, you're going to have great sunlight on it. It's going to come up. You're going to have turnips and cut corn in that inside corner, which is just going to give you that much more advantage with the bow.
So there's this little bag on the table. What's this do, Joe? I mean,
That'll do a third of an acre.
Third of an acre.
2-pound bag will do a third of an acre.
Okay.
Yep.
That's cool. After it's in or whatever, how long before we believe we're seeing like some sort of germination?
It's quick germination,
is
man.
it?
I mean, within 7 days, you're going to see sprouts coming up. On both blends that we have, within a week, you've got green. I mean, it's immediate results.
Can't beat that.
You gotta plant it right.
Right.
Make sure you got rain coming, the usual. But yeah, it's going to be there for you quick.
I mean, the way Blake just said he did it, you couldn't ask for easier food plot.
No, it's
you know what I mean?
And even if your farmer doesn't let you, okay, that's fine. When your corn in September, end of August, September, your corn, at least in Missouri, is so withered and already gone that it's letting enough light through to get it. In fact, we have farmers who no-till their ground, and they'll air seed in turnips over their standing corn with a crop sprayer. That's where I got the idea, and we started doing it, just walking down the rows with a spinner. You can knock it out very easy on the inside corner, and it'll come up. It'll actually sprout before they cut the corn because sometimes they're not cutting corn until late September. But it'll come up in the corn because it's letting enough light through. But once that corn's gone, it's got straight sunlight, and you've already got fertilizer in the ground because the farmer put it there.
That's right.
You have no undergrowth
at
all to compete with, and you have great seed-to-soil contact because it's just fresh dirt. It's ready to roll. So, and it falls down. That's the really cool thing about a Baraska blend is that you have a really, really small seed that's going to fall down in cracks and get down in the dirt and start to come up for you. So it's we're really excited about it. I mean, that can be the changing point late. I can't tell you how many guys I talk to that they're hunting late. They're like, I just don't have any deer. I don't have any food. I mean, it's so simple. There it is.
Yeah,
Like,
that's it right there.
Pasture,
yeah,
whatever you got, you can just throw it out there, man.
It's super simple,
Yeah.
and I love those inside corners like that too.
Oh yeah,
food plot like that's the best. So,
they're real.
but that I don't. They're about to kick us out of here, I think. So it's 5 o'clock. Show's
one more
closing.
thing
Go ahead, Denny.
Closing down. American-made Big Tine. It's
right
cool
here.
Concept that you guys grow a lot of your crop. Your product.
Being based out of Rockville, Indiana, when you guys come to the plant, you're passing all these cornfields, bean fields. That's where all the grain's coming from.
Right there, right there.
We have our own fields
locally.
We work with the local farmers. The Milo fields around the Indianapolis airport. That's where our Milo comes from for the mixes. So we're very, very proud of that aspect.
Yeah, that's really cool. Good.
I don't know who else can say that.
Yeah.
We can't grow sunflowers. we have to get them brought in. But
everything else. But very good thing to bring up, Diddy. That's an awesome point. I didn't know that about you guys either. So that's
quite
really
the operation.
That is
insane.
That's really cool. Very good. So, Joe, let everybody know where they can find Big Tine products and where they can, website, social media.
Way, obviously download our app. We're very excited about the app. We got the
That's
Unfiltered
new for this
guys
year,
on there
right?
all the time. Do what?
the app's new, relatively speaking.
Yeah, we've had it out for a little bit, but we're still getting jacked up on it. All kinds of content on there from all the teams with Big Tine.
A lot of hunting videos, podcasts on there.
Tons of hunting videos, exclusive videos, how-tos. More importantly, though, you can get on the dealer locator there, punch in your zip code, and it's going to tell you where you can buy your Big
cool.
Tine at.
Absolutely.
Spot.
Yeah. Can't beat that. So,
Good.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Joe, for your time today. And
thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm going to see you after this podcast is over.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're right across the table from me. I got a conversation for you after this. It's not G-rated.
I like private conversations.
So that means we got to take it offline. But thank you, guys, and we'll be back.
Gotta go.
Thanks, Joe.